Hey everyone, it is Epictasticness Joshua again. As you're all aware, we are currently under two different strikes. We are under the Writers Guild of America's strike, the WGA, and the Screen Actors Guild after strike, which is the SAG strike. As a result of this, some movies has been put on hold to this. Some movies are changing release dates, and some movies haven't even been able to start filming or go further with this because writers and actors are not being paid equally, causing these movies, especially smaller movies or larger budget movies, to get the runaround. As a result of this, any video that you're seeing from me going forward, there will be this disclaimer that you see before the actual video of what I'm going to be talking about is going to be presented. And the reason why I want to put this little disclaimer here is because without the labor of writers and actors who are currently on strike, who puts hundreds and thousands of hours into making their product, no matter how good, how bad, or how terrible it could be, we would not have them. Because without writers, you would not have the TV shows or the movies that you would currently be watching from the past and present. And without these actors, they wouldn't be able to perform most of the actions written in those scripts. So as a result of this, I've decided to put this disclaimer here until further notice, until after the strike is over. You can find out more about these two ongoing strikes online by going to WGAafter2023.org or http://sagafterstrike.org for more info. If you would like to help and donate money, go to entertainmentcommunity.org. That way, even if you have as little as $1, one donation or more could help a lot of people who are fighting tirelessly to get equal pay. So let's join the fight, help these writers and actors in these times of need, and let's get them back to work. And that way we can get some more movies and TV shows of quality, no matter how it turns out. I'm Joshua Drake. Thank you for listening. Jason Statham is back with a new group of people to fight some sharks, and we're gonna talk about it. Let's talk about the Meg to the Trench. What's up everyone, it is Epictasticness Joshua here. Welcome back to the channel. I talk movies, TV, music, and anime on a few occasions, and this is going to be my thoughts on The Meg to the Trench, which is the sequel to The Meg, released in 2018. This is directed by Ben Wheatley and stars Jason Statham, Wu Jing, Sophia Kai, Paige Kennedy, Skylar Samuels, Cliff Curtis, Sienna Guillory, and Sergio Perez-Mancheda. In Meg to the Trench, just like the last movie, we follow Jonas Taylor and a group of scientists who must outrun and outswim the titular megalodons when a malevolent mining operation threatens their mission and forces them into a high-stakes battle for survival. When it comes to Meg to the Trench, this was a movie that, of course, me being a fan of the first Meg, I am a fan of. Now, shark movies can be entertaining when they're not Jaws. There has been plenty of examples of rip-offs of Jaws or creature feature shark movies that I like. The Piranha movies, I like Anaconda, I like the Plastic movies, and the first Meg was actually a pretty good surprise back in 2018. It was the movie I had to see after dealing with my horrible experience with Slender Man.
Red flag!
So going into this, it's 5 years later, just like Across the Spider-Verse and Dead Reckoning. I went into this optimistic. You had Ben Wheatley, who has proven himself to be a very good director in the case of Free Fire, and he was going to do Tomb Raider 2 until that got taken away from him. Top that off, you had Jason Statham coming back, and then you also had some new actors here, returning actors. I was a little concerned though, because it's been 5 years since the last movie, but I still held on to excitement, and had optimism, and I was a little nervous, of course, seeing a lot of the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm just gonna say right now, I don't listen to websites like that. I just like to go into movies and form my own opinion. So, how did the Meg 2 The Trench came to be for me, my personal enjoyment? And starting off with the pros, once again, is I will say Jason Statham once again kicks ass in this. There's a reason why Jason Statham is one of the most beloved actors and action stars today. He has such a charisma to him, he's such a badass, and his manly chops does sell a movie like this. And that's the more important thing when it comes to creature features. No matter if you're a man or a woman, you have to have someone that's gonna sell your product. Because if it doesn't sell, the movie struggles here. And I will say Jason Statham makes it very fun to watch, and he's very likable, he's very charismatic. They do give him a lot more to play with him being the stepfather of the child from the first movie, because the mother, of course, in the last movie died, of course. He does a good job in terms of being the likable lead, so he's very good. I'll say some of the returning actors like Sophia Kai and Wu Jing and Paige Kennedy and Cliff Curtis, they all do very good in their roles as well. But some of the new cast members I actually really did like too. I liked Skylar Samuels for what little she was able to do, and really enjoyed Sienna Guillory. There's one moment here I feel she's a little over the top, but I feel like Sienna Guillory, for the screen time that she has, I thought she was very good too. Then you also have this other chick who plays the security officer in Mana 1. I don't want to mispronounce her name, so I'll leave it in the text in the description below. But acting wise, everyone does very good here. They're not taking this script very seriously. Some do better than others in terms of this, but I think all in all, everyone did a fine job here.
Yes, definitely. Absolutely.
Ben Wheatley's direction is also very good here. I love the way this movie looks. The underwater sequences are very impressive. Coming from someone who loved the underwater sequences of Aquaman and liked the underwater sequences in Avatar: The Way of Water, I feel like this movie leans more into the Aquaman camp, where it's visually striking here. There are some references to Jaws, of course, and to Sharknado, of course, in the third act, which I very much enjoyed. Being a fan of Jaws 2 and being a fan of the Sharknado movies, those movies are silly, guilty pleasures, and so are these two movies here. And I definitely think cinematography-wise and music-wise by Harry Gregson Williams, the cinematography in this movie is visually stimulating. This is a $129 million budget, and it's not overly high. Because this is one of the things that I do kind of have problems with some of these movies, that some of the budgets gets a little bit too high. I know with the COVID and with certain other states that gonna cost you extra, but there has to be a reasonable price with some of these movies going forward. As long as you don't make your shit look like The Asylum.
Consider this mercy.
Speaking of The Asylum, the effects here for the $129 million budget, they look very good. You get 3 sharks in this movie, and each shark looks very cool. They look very impressive. I very much love the way they looked into this movie, and they just look like they could be very awesome and very scary at times. And when you get the shark action and the megalodon action, for what little you get in this, it's very fun here. It's very entertaining, especially that third act. It was like Sharknado 7, Underwater Star Wars, and Jaws 2 wrapped up in one. So the third act was just completely crazy. It does get bloody at points. I will say that for a PG-13, there are some bloody images, so I will definitely go into that side of things. And for the story itself, I was interested in, for the most part, when it comes to Jonas and the sharks. This whole billionaire villain thing, I think could have been done better in there, which I'll get into the negatives. But I thought, for the most part, I really liked the story, I liked the shark action, and I liked what the movie was trying to present to us. Going into the negative side of this movie, because this is not a perfect movie, I will say right now the script and the characters in this movie are very cookie cutter, not that great. Now I understand unless it's Jaws, you're coming to see sharks here. When it comes to wanting to see these sharks, I feel like we needed a little bit more of them in the second and first half. Because when you get into the first half of this movie, I have to say that I think there are moments in this third act where I feel like the characters and the human characters kind of sidelines the shark stuff. I just felt like you needed a clear focus when it comes to what you're really coming to see this movie for. The script in this movie, dialogue at points, is very, very cliche, very stilted. This is an easy shot to take with movies like this, but and I know you don't come for that, but when it comes to something like this, you could expect the characters to have a little bit more value to them in terms of character development. And in this movie is very fucking generic. This fucking villain played by Sergio Paris, not very interesting at all. I really didn't like his plan. I thought his plan was just something that we've seen done before, but not have a lot more explorativeness to him. I feel like they could have done more when it comes to it. So you could easily took a shot and did that a little bit better in terms of the story and execution. So absolutely will agree with people there. So I will give it that. This is just going to be an easy shot to take here. This movie desperately needed a rated R. I felt like this movie needed to be rated R. That way you could see a lot more gore and blood. Now, I'll say this right at the back. An R rating doesn't make the movie. It's how you use a rating, a PG or PG-13 or R rated. But I feel like with movies about 3 sharks killing people underwater, I felt like you needed that R rating. You definitely could have had that, and it would have made it much more sense, having much more effective and such. I do wish some actors had more to do in here. Why would you have Sienna Guillory here? The best live action Jill Valentine. The hottest Jill Valentine in live action.
And you know this, man.
And not give her anything to do. Because it's like every movie I've seen her in ever since that, she's either been killed off or underused. Which one does she get in this? The first one. On top of that, you also have Skylar Samuels in here, and she doesn't get much to do either. Why would you have these 2 actresses in here who are well known and they can do more if you have more of them required in the scripts and not have them much to do? Again, they're not bad in the movie. I just feel like they needed more to do. Overall, I thought Meg 2: The Trench is a fun time. If you can just turn your brain off and just have some goofy, silly, stupid fun and enjoy the movie for what it is and not expect some groundbreaking Oscar shark movie or the next Jaws, I think you can enjoy it. If you don't like this movie, I can understand. If you're not a fan of this movie, fine. Not every shark movie is gonna be Jaws. Let's just get that out of the way. I've seen some people not like this, and that's fine. You're entitled to your opinion, but I enjoy both of these movies for what it is, and I do hope we do get a third one, depending on how much this movie is gonna make after this first weekend and such, especially with the help of China. I want to see a third one of these. Just take some of the criticism from both movies and make it a little bit better. Have some female characters here who's willing to help Jason Statham fight the shark. Have the gore. Definitely have some more character growth. And I think you will overall have a pretty damn good third installment in the Meg, hopefully, trilogy or franchise. But ultimately, for me, this is worth watching, and this is a fun time. If you want to turn your brain off, it definitely is. If you don't like the movie, I can understand that. Well, that's going to do it for the video that you just watched. I will have my channel here, so you would like to see anything here. Click the channel icon, subscribe for more. I will also leave a video and maybe a playlist here, so in case you want to see what I'm about. As always, stay Epictasticness, join the Epictasticness, and you guys keep it cool.